Okay, so I think we are recording. We are recording. Welcome to Project Start. Welcome to Project Start. I am really excited for this program. I was telling Dana, I'm not only excited for the program for all of you who are here, people live, people who will just get this in a week or a month, but I'm more excited for you all who everyone who participates in this and really just takes that next step to begin to start to share their life, share their story. And there's something very special when it comes to people who are willing to do something. You can read all the books, you can get all the help that you want to, but if you don't have that desire, then it makes things very difficult and you're not able to do it. So this program, without that desire, it's not really going to work. But you guys have all showed up, which means you have that desire, and it's something that I'm so excited for, and I love being around people and helping be your guide to this whole new path, this whole new life of starting things, because it's the things that you are scared to start, the same fears as we're going to get into throughout this entire program. The same fears that you have that is scared to start is the same fears that maybe stop you from doing other things, having that tough conversation, doing things that you know you should be doing, but you're a little scared to. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited for this program. I'm really excited to have you here, people in the live and people who have purchased this program outside, or maybe I've gifted to you, or I'm happy to have you here. And I want to give you a personal welcome to Project Start. Now, if you're watching the replay of this, things should be okay and pretty clear, but because this is technology, there's going to be times when maybe it cuts out, maybe something happens, that the video you're missing a video, like, wait, I see 1, 2, where's number 3? It's technology. I'll always come back here. The programs will always be uploaded. And because in this program, I know for a fact there's a few people who aren't going to be at the live sessions. As you're watching this replay, any questions that you have, any questions at all, leave the comments or comment under this video, send me an email, or more importantly, show up to the next one with your questions. Because I believe that when you're watching it live, there's a different dynamic. But I don't want people, and I've done this before, I've done this a lot of times, that people, when you watch the replay, you kind of just watch it. Like, I want you to feel engaged. I want you to, as these things are going, write the questions down, leave them in the comments, send me a personal email, and I'll talk about it in the next one. And the way that this whole program is set up, and this is a program, so I'm recording this live, people will be here live, people are here live, this is normal, but it's a replay, there'll be replays, as most of you will watch, and it's run like a program. I'm running it like it will be a $5,000 program maybe in a couple of years when, I have no idea, but it is a program. It's something that I'm serious about, and it's something that I'm giving everything that I learned and I have learned between before I started and to right now where I start. It's something that I'm happy to share, something that I'm truly embodied in right now. And I just want to let you know, I'm happy to have you guys here. And as people are joining this program later, jump in the live sessions. If there's any questions, lukelifecharms@gmail.com. You can send me and reach me directly, or at lukelifecharms on Instagram, on YouTube. Send me a message, and if there's something that I can help you with or something goes on, I'll get it to you, get the information to you as soon as I can. Now, the goal of this program, the goal is to keep things really short and sweet. Now, I know there's a few of you who were in Project Alpha. Some of you guys were in Side Hustle Magic, and possibly you've taken those programs and they kind of dragged out. But in this program, I really want to keep it really short. I want to keep it really in bite-sized pieces that give you something that you can process on your own. So I know maybe you want to do a bunch of different things. You want to, like, well, that's great. You want to take notes. You want to do all, like, Luke, talk more. But it's really about you. It's really about you guys taking some of these questions, as we're going to go through later today, and really writing it out on your own, so you can truly see where you're struggling at. And this is one of the one of the most important parts, because there's so many times that, you can listen to a speaker talk and you like, that was good, that was a good session, and then you just go about your day. But this program is going to be really amazing, and even starting right now, because what we're doing is you're going to have a lot of questions. And as you start to write these questions down, and feel free to pause, feel free to go back and write these things out. And as you write it out, I really want you to think about it. Like, what has been these things that have been holding you back? Why has it not been fun for you? What has made you so you can't really share your story? What is it that makes it so it's very tough for you to communicate? Like, these are very important questions that as you write it and fill it out, these questions out, that's where the breakthroughs are going to come. It's all going to, and everything in this program comes through action. You know, I wish that I could do all the work for you. I could post the video, I could share your story, but at the end of the day, it's on you. You have to put it out there. You have to share your story. And something that's going to come up a lot in this program is MSA. MSA. MSA stands for massive, scary action. Massive, scary action. It's all about the massive, scary action. I'm going to give you all the strategy, but it's about you taking the action. And it's going to be scary, especially for you all. If you've been waiting a long time to put out content, it's going to be super scary. But it's scary because you've made it up here. You've made it super scary up here. So through here, you're going to get the questions. And as you start to go to these questions, it's going to start to reshape your thinking. Because if you think about it, and I talk about this everywhere on all platforms, your thoughts are only questions. So as I'm telling you that, you're thinking to yourself like, is that true? Is my thoughts only questions? Well, that's a question. Wait, no way. Really? That's another question. So what we're going to do is, because you ask the questions, you get the very same answer. So someone who's always saying, why is this always happening to me? Like, why is it happening again? This is a very similar pattern of questions that you're asking yourself. So you're going to get back similar responses every time. I don't know why it's happening to you. I don't know why the person did that. I don't know why people always act that way. But if we start to change your question to find out, what's the most beautiful thing about this moment? What can I appreciate in this moment? This is where the breakthrough comes. And that is in a previous program, Project Alpha, where we break that down completely. But I just want to get you to know, is when it comes to starting something, we're going to change how you look at things. So now, instead of like, I don't know when to start, you realize that, wait a minute, there's no great time to start. What makes today not the best day to start? You know, and as you ask that, now your brain starts to process a lot, like, wait, I don't know what makes today not the best day. Today's a great day to start. And this is something that makes a huge, huge, huge difference. And hold on, we got some people joining in live. And people are gonna be live, guys, so it's gonna be pretty raw and open and uncut. What's going on? If you're just joining, what's going on? Great to have you here. Wasn't sure that people were joining live. I got a lot of messages. I was like, I guess I'm running this whole thing like on my own if people can't join the live and then watch the replay. So appreciate you jumping in live. Great to see you as well. Great to see you. And right now we're just talking about keeping everything short and sweet. You know, Project Alpha, you were in Project Alpha, so you know that it was a little, like it can be dragged out. And I really want to keep these sessions really short and sweet, especially for all of you who are watching the replay. One thing that I hope is that you start to take all the questions that come up here and you write it down. Because as you write this stuff down, you're going to start to really see that, wait a minute, I really am struggling with this. And it's just something you never thought about before. Because most of the stuff, everything that I'm saying here, it's nothing new. I've usually said, you've heard it before, but you've just never processed it correctly. So the questions and the things that people are struggling with is, the first question I want you to ask yourself, and everyone even watching the replay, if I talk a little fast because I get excited, please feel free to write down, push pause and write it down. But the reasons, why haven't you started yet? Why haven't you started? Whatever it is that you want to start, write that question down. Why haven't I started yet? Now we're going to get into it a little bit later. Like I say, I'm going to keep the sessions really short and sweet, because everyone, we have to envision an outcome that we want. But without having said that, what has been the biggest struggle for you? Why haven't you started? That's the first question. And that next question is, and I can almost answer it, it's been a limiting belief, but I want you to say, what has been the biggest limiting belief you have? So regardless of what you want to start, how you want to start, what's this belief that you have that's stopping you from starting? Doesn't matter if you want to start. It doesn't matter what you want to start. Just when you go to start something you haven't started, what's been the limiting belief? What has been the limiting belief? And like I say, this is, since we're running this all the way through live, feel free after this session to write out a few more things. I recommend writing about 3 or 4 things down for each question that I'm asking, at least 3 or 4. You know, when I do it personally, I try to do 8. I don't know, I love the number 8. I try to do 7, but 8 always ends up coming out. What's been the limiting belief? I don't feel like I'm ready. That's one of them. I'm not sure what people will think about it. I'm not sure if it's good enough. Really write down these limiting beliefs, because we're going to do a formula. We're going to do in the next session, we're going to really dive into limiting beliefs. But this is a great start for the very first session. So you can see them now. You'll see the limiting belief later. And then when we change it and start to ask that limiting belief questions, you're going to see that, oh my gosh, it's just a veil. There's nothing really there. Because when you have these limiting beliefs, when it comes to starting, the reason why people haven't started something is because there's some limiting belief there. And what happens with the limiting belief is it causes you, a limiting belief is like a wall, or not even like a wall. A limiting belief is like a sheet. And the more limiting beliefs you have, the more it becomes like a wall. So one of the good examples that I really use with my clients, and I use this with myself as well. I'm writing a book and I was writing about it this morning. What a limiting belief does is it blocks out everything that opposes that belief. So I want you to picture someone who just believes that people are rude. A simple belief. They just, people are just rude. People are rude. That's a limiting belief. And it's a limiting belief because since you believe that, that's all you're gonna see. You're just gonna see rude people everywhere. And what happens is you'll start to find evidence to back up that limiting belief. And that's all you'll see. So instead of thinking like, oh man, you know, the world is open, people are beautiful, you know, life has, you say, no, people are rude. So now all the good, the beautiful, people don't see that. This person who believes that, they don't see this. And I'm sure all of you right now could think and say, well, what is the challenges for someone like this? Someone who just believes everyone was rude. Where are the challenges that they'd have later in their life? How would they feel about themselves? Because they're blocked out. It's totally blocked out. They've blocked out all the other things. And that's what a limiting belief does. And that's what the biggest problem with it is. And I've talked about this in many other programs and it's on social media, is that our brains, we run 95% of the decisions we make. I think the number's like 93, is made in our subconscious, meaning we're not aware of it. It's a habit. Another word for your subconscious is a habit. You don't think about it, you just do it. Brushing your teeth, you don't even think about it. Driving your car, you can eat and drink and text. You shouldn't be texting, but you can do all this stuff, but it's all running on your subconscious. So your limiting beliefs are often stored there. So people who believe money is evil, that's always in the subconscious mind. And if they want to be a good person, then they just won't really go to the money. They'll actually stay away from it because they believe it. And all that happens in the subconscious mind. So what we're going to do when it comes to starting something, and we'll do it later in this course, we're gonna look at this list. So I want you to make this list especially when the session's over, about 7 things if you can, 7 limiting beliefs of why you haven't started. And it doesn't matter what it is. There's some beliefs that are really good. I've heard some really creative ideas. You know, I just was waiting until I retired. Or I was just waiting until the kids moved out, or I was just waiting until, you know, I got that promotion, or I just was waiting. And when you start to really look at a limiting belief, you know it's a limiting belief because it keeps moving. The limiting belief is just like, I'll do it on Monday. That's what, and then you get to Monday, and then there's another one. And then there's all these different beliefs that will pop up out of nowhere. The second you put one down, another one pops up. So it's very important that we're going to make this list and we're going to look at this list, because now we're taking it from the subconscious and putting it out there so we can see it. And then we're going to ask ourselves a bunch of questions around these beliefs. And this is what's going to really clear things up. But if you can get it out on this first session, the next session will be a lot easier and you'll see them much more clearly. And when it comes to starting something, you know, this is like the kind of meat of it. When it comes to starting something, what people really need to do is, especially starting, this is so important for starting. This is like, this whole program is tailored to starting, and this is so important. Forget the where and forget the how. Like, forget this in the beginning. Like, this has to get out of the way. You can almost forget the what, because there's so many options out there. Like, once you start getting like someone who says, you know, what I want my outcome to be is I want to help people. And they know this, but now they're like, okay, now how am I going to do it? I don't know. There's a lot of podcasts. There's a lot of YouTube. There's social media on Instagram. I could do TikTok. I can do Twitter. I can do Clubhouse. I could do Parler before they shut it down. I could do Twitch. I could do, like, you're giving your brain so many things that it's just overwhelming sometimes when you're just like, wait, what? Like, you just talk yourself out. And I'm reading a book right now, and it just says that our brain always wants things to be easy. Our brain always searches for the easy way to do things. You know, I think it was Bill Gates who said if he had to decide between hiring a lazy person or hiring a very intelligent person, he'd hire the lazy person because a lazy person would find out how to do it better and more efficiently. And our brain always searches for that easy answer. So when we make that first step, and this is huge, that first step has to be easy. If I want to help people, that's the outcome. This is an outcome. So the question that you need to ask right now is, what do I want the outcome to be? What is my reason why? The why is the most important thing. Like, why you want to start sharing your story, sharing your experiences, sharing your knowledge, sharing all this stuff with the world. Why do you want to do it? Because what most people do is they say, hey, I want to share my experiences with the world. Okay, now which way do I go? And they're looking at 50 different social media platforms, 20 more popping up every day, and they don't know which one to do, how the algorithm works, and they talk themselves out of it, and they end up just sitting back like this. Or if you go back to the last thing, talking about our limiting beliefs, they might say, hey, the market's too saturated. Other people are already doing it. I think it's boring. These are all limiting beliefs. Because if you think the market's saturated, why would you show up? If you think that your life is boring, why would you share it? So you can see that if you just think your life is boring, that's a huge limiting belief. It just sounds like, no, my life's boring, I'm not going to do it. Well, if you believe your life is boring, that means that you don't think that you have something to give and you have a piece of value to give to anyone. You know, I learned when you truly start to understand things, you realize you can learn from anyone at any time. You can learn something. You know, I learned most of the stuff I know that I teach, I learned from someone. If I didn't take a program with them, I learned from just watching. And I could see, like, okay, does that work? Is that something that I would take for me? Okay, what do I want to do with this? Like, okay, I want to structure it like this. So the best thing to do right now is the outcome. Most of y'all who are taking this program, and like I say, thank you again. I know so many people couldn't be live, but you all who are watching the replay, you signed up for this for a reason. You said you couldn't make the live session, but you took time and found a time to watch the replay. There's a reason. There's a deep reason. Like, what is that reason? What is the outcome that you want? And more so, what is the feeling you want to have after? This is a very similar thing, because this gives you the direction. Because the world is really, it's changing so much right now. And if your goal is to try to inspire people if you inspire people through your story, for example, there are so many ways you can do that. And this is when we'll go into, and this is a question I was going to save for the end, but this is important now. After you found that outcome, like, well, what is the most fun way to go about doing this? Because now you're taking a different approach. Now your brain is used to, like, okay, I want to help people, but I know it's going to be difficult. So we're gonna cross out that objection. We've already planned ahead. We've already anticipated for that objection. So now it's going to be like, well, what would be a fun way to do this? When I want to talk about it, when I want to write about it, when I want to make a video about it, what would be the best way? You know, because we live in a world now where I believe every single person can share their experience and be able to help other people. And sometimes it's just, there's so many options that we need that North Star. We need that direction of where to go. And when we make it bigger than us, we can do it a lot easier than we can if it's just about us. And something that I talk about all the time as well is our feelings. And because everything we do is for a feeling. When you go on vacation, you're not going on vacation to go on vacation. You're going on vacation because it brings you a certain feeling. And that's the feeling. You want that feeling, because when you bring that, so you're like, okay, well, I want that feeling. Okay, that makes me feel good. And as we know, we've talked about anyone who's in any other programs, pleasure and pain is why we do things. So we want to make a pleasurable experience of starting whatever it is. And we make it a pleasurable experience by knowing our why, by doing something that's fun. We forget fun. It's one thing that people forget the most is the fun. You can, because in the world we live in now, you can help people and have a lot of fun. Like I have a lot of fun. I love recording a podcast when I want. I love having group programs. I love working with my individual one-on-one clients. It's fun for me. Like I've been up since maybe 5 this morning. It's 9:30 here. After this, I have to wait until 10:30 and I have a call, one-on-one call with a client for an hour. After that, I want to go over what happened here and what can I improve for the next one. And it's fun. If it wasn't fun, it would be so difficult. And I wish I had the book over here, but I have a book I'm reading by Richard Branson called Screw It, Let's Do It. And the first question he always asks is this going to be fun? Richard Branson, multi-billionaire, owns Necker Island, or owns Virgin Atlantic, all the airways, he owns so many. But he asks, is it going to be fun? Because when we're starting something, we need to make it fun. We have to remember, if you think of a child doesn't start something because it's going to make them money. A child really follows that joy, that compass of joy, as Dana calls it, their joy compass to do what it is that they want to do. They're not worried about like, oh, I don't know if it's going to fail. These limiting beliefs that we have, which we're going to really touch on, because when you can really get that objective, that outcome that you want, understand that the activity can change. Because if your goal is to help one person or help the world by one person at a time, you can show up on Facebook for a little bit. Then you realize like that doesn't feel too fun this week. Like for me, Facebook feels fun sometimes. Most of the time it doesn't. Instagram feels fun for me, so I show up there more. Then when I feel like, it's not so fun to post on there, so I've just jumped on TikTok the last few days. And you just kind of play around. You follow that funness, and it keeps it exciting. And the energy that you bring is so different because it's fun. You know, I think about like programs that I've run in the past. I used to just record my programs, and I just was like, well, let me just run them live. But I've done programs where I didn't know if anyone's going to be in it. I didn't know if I wasn't even sure if the content would, if I had too much or I had too little. Like there was so much uncertainty, but it was like, I want to make this to help someone. I want to be a blessing. That's what my outcome is. I want to be a blessing. I'm giving you my secret, but feel free to take it for yourself. I want to be a blessing. Like I want to be a blessing for someone. So now that I know I want to be a blessing, now what activities would be the most fun to be a blessing? What gives me a good feeling? It gives me a good feeling when I give. So now I show up to give, I show up to serve. But without knowing that outcome, what happens is we show up and we think we just need to make a bunch of podcasts and a bunch of videos and we need more followers and subscribers. And this is where we get really lost. And, you know, to kind of give you just a little bit more clarity, and this is probably something definitely to write down, a question, you have to think about what's most important to you. What is the most important thing to you? Because what's going to happen when you have your outcome and it doesn't feel right, it's because it's not aligned with your soul. So when you say I'm doing it to make money, why that doesn't feel right with you? Because it's like you don't really, maybe you want the money, maybe you want the freedom, but you don't really want that. So it doesn't really line up like it should. It's something's off. And there's a question I want to ask you to ask yourself. Well, I'm going to ask you, but I want you to ask yourself. And this will help you. I want you to check this with what you have as you want what the outcome to be. So you have what you want to be the outcome. Like, hey, I want to serve people or I want to, whatever it is. But I want you to check it with this answer that you're going to answer this next question with. And this is the money question. I almost started to just put this question on my notes and just talk about this. And this is usually a question that I use. I usually interrupt people when they're talking with this question. When I work with clients and we have a call before we start, because I audition people before I sign them to work with me or for me to work with them. And I always interrupt them when they get in this story. Like, you know, I don't know what I want to do. I think that it's better like this. I usually interrupt them with this question right here. I'm like, hey, excuse me. And like, yeah. What's life about? What's life about? And this question does something to people. Because all of a sudden you don't know what you want, but you know what life is about. And when you know what life is about, that's what your soul wants deep down. Life is about having fun, spending time with my family, and helping other people. Like that's a very common answer. So what happens is, and this is a secret I'm telling you guys, is when you're not as happy as you should be, it's usually because what life is about, you're not doing anything on that list. You know, life is about traveling and giving back and learning about different cultures. I'm like, oh, well, what are you doing now? I'm just stuck in an office working all day. Well, you subconsciously know what life is about. And you know you're not doing what life is about. So you don't feel like you're living. But all that's in their subconscious. They don't see that. People don't see that till it's brought out to them. And I have to ask myself this all the time as well. Like, what's life about? Like, what's life about? Because then you can say, well, if life is about giving, what have I been giving lately? Oh, not too much. If life is about sharing, what have I shared lately? I feel like I've been doing more taking than sharing. You know, if life is about having fun, how much fun have I had lately? These are the magic questions, because now you start to think in a completely different way. And I think that once you start to do that, it opens up a whole new portal. Most people have been looking in the same place for the same thing all the time. But as we shift our focus with our questions, and as we continue this program out throughout the next couple of days and next week, we're going to shift it. So now is the very beginning part, because if we don't have this foundation today, what our limiting beliefs are, and if we don't have like, well, what would be the more fun way to do it? And if we don't know that, well, what's life about? Then we're not starting off on the right way. You know, if you, and I kind of gave it away a little bit, we'll talk about it more in the sessions coming up, is go, ready, set. So go, ready, set is something that I practice all the time. And that's just you go before you're ready, basically. Because you're never going to feel ready. And one of the people I was working with, but a common thing that comes up when I say, well, what are some limiting beliefs you have? And people don't realize it, but saying I'm not ready, that's a limiting belief. Think about someone who says that they're not ready for something. They don't see anything. Like if they say, hey, I'm not ready to travel, they don't even look at traveling. I'm not ready to start my business. They're not even researching businesses because they're not ready yet. And so this whole thing of just, you know what you want, okay, go, boom. And I was gonna say this on my Instagram, but I didn't say it because I didn't want to get like in trouble on there. But I had another saying, this is the one I use for myself. It's aim, fire, ready. That's a more powerful one. That's one that I tell you guys here in this program. It's aim, so know the outcome you want. Fire means you go in that direction with massive, scary action. Massive, scary action. It has to be all three of these. It can't just be massive action, because I've done massive action. I have a lot of people who I follow, my coach, massive action, what you need to do. But I would do the massive action, but it wasn't scary enough. So it didn't riddle enough like feathers. It didn't make me feel like, oh man, I feel alive. It just was kind of a big thing. I was like, that was a big deal. Yeah, that was big. But when it's scary, it wires in your nervous system even better. So you need to do a massive scary action. This program is all about massive scary action. So as we're developing, hopefully after the second session, by the third session for sure, you guys are going to start putting out your content, whatever that is. And I'm not telling you what to put out. This is all stuff that you come up with. I'm just the guide throughout this entire program. So once you know the outcome that you want and what the limiting beliefs are, you have a little bit of a formula. You see what you want. And these limiting beliefs on this side, they're going to show you what's been stopping you. And as it shows you what's been stopping you, you're like, okay, goodness. So we've got a little, I wish I had like a whiteboard or something and I could write it out for you. So you have the outcome you want. I want to serve and empower the world. And these limiting beliefs, these are the things that are stopping you. So once we can clear out these things out the way, well, we're going to do that next session. Now all of a sudden there's just you and what you want. And knowing what life is about, that makes everything even better, because now you can compare that to your outcome. If your outcome doesn't really equal what you believe life is about, you're out of alignment. And this is the whole thing. This is when people are at civil war with themselves. So people are like, you know, I should be doing this, but I'm not. This is civil war with yourself. I have a lot to give, but I'm not giving anything. You're at civil war with yourself. I want to be the person that shares and empowers people, but I'm not doing anything right now. That's a civil war with yourself. So we're going to change your focus, because I talk about all the time, focus equals feeling. What you focus on, you're going to feel. If I push you and you focus on that push, you're going to feel it. And the second part is meaning. What did that mean to you? Did that push mean like, oh, Luke, that's my buddy, he's crazy? Or did the push mean, who is that guy who pushed me? What are you doing? That's going to give you your emotion. That's going to give you what you're going to feel: anger, happiness, shock. Wow, what's up? I didn't see you in forever. What does it bring you? And that's important, because as you focus on these limiting beliefs and you focus on that they're holding you back from getting to this outcome, getting to what you believe life is about, it's going to link enough pain through the emotion, because it's going to mean like, if it means that if I'm not ready, that means I'm never going to do it. That means I'm not doing what life is about. I'm never going to have my outcome. So once we've eliminated that, it's going to be just not a smooth ride. It's going to be a scary ride. And to give you a preview of what we're going to do, after 3 sessions, as I said before, you guys are going to put out your own content. You're going to put something out. So how this week is going to go, we got Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think after today, you should take some kind of massive scary action. You'll have an idea, but I don't expect you to be 100% ready, but that's why you go before you're ready. And on Wednesday, after that, after you've had these limited beliefs, I want everyone to go out and try it. I know some of you are watching the replay, maybe you've watched a bunch of these in one day. I still want you to go out and try it after the second session, because now you have everything you need. You'll realize that the only reason you haven't done it is because you have some belief that stopped you, which we'll go into next week. And I mean, in the next session, in session number 2, and that's going to really clear everything up for you. And then by the 3rd session, you should be ready to put something out there. Now, we're not going to get into it yet, because like I say, it's about making the very first step easy. And if I were to tell you, okay, everyone go put out a bunch of content right now with your outcome, go ahead and do it. It's too much. Your brain's like, oh, no. That's what's been holding people back long enough. So it's going to be a little baby step. So by the 3rd session, everyone will put out the content. You'll have the Friday after this program's over. You'll have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because hopefully you put it out right after. So then you have 3 days to sit with it. Like, oh, can't believe what I just did. It should be scary. So that's great. And then on Tuesday, it's going to be a Q&A. And more so, I'm going to give you some feedback on some things that you'll probably feel and how to go with it from there. And then the following Thursday will be a little bit of a bonus session, which I'll explain when we get closer to that date. But I want to really work with you all. And like I say, I know people can't be here for the live session, and I appreciate you all for being part of this program. When you have questions, leave them in the comment. I'm not sure how it works on here, but when you go into Member Vault, I believe there's a place where you can write your comments, and I'll get back to people. Send me an email. The emails I've gotten from people who can't be in here live, to send me the emails and I'll get back to you. Just make sure you guys title the email Project Start. I get a lot of emails, a lot of things, but when it's Project Start, I respond to those every day, because I want to make sure that you guys are getting this. Because I want you guys to start. I want you guys to start sharing your story. Some of you guys have so much experience, and so you've been through so much, and you're going through so much, and you've been so strong, but you're not sharing it with the world because you feel like you need to have, I don't know, go through one of those limiting beliefs on the side. And is that stopping you from just putting it out there, which is what ultimately changes your life? Because I believe that's what you believe. Most of you all believe life is about. So before we end, I've actually got 3 questions written down. And I want you guys to write these out and to go through these, and we'll pick up next part in 2 days on Wednesday. So the first question is, what would be fun for you? So I want you to look at your outcome. What would be a fun way to do that? What would be a fun way to help people? And we're going to answer this question. What would be a fun way to help people? And I hope you can see that these are all questions that make you think different than probably you've had them before. What would be a fun way to help people? Second question is, why haven't you started yet? And one thing I should have said here in the beginning is to be honest. To be honest. Be honest. Why haven't you started yet? Because the more honest you are, it gives you a good starting point. If you haven't started because you're scared, that's amazing. Now we know. We just got to get that fear out the way. We got to raise that desire level up. If you haven't started because You're worried about other people's judgment? That's great. Now we got to shift your focus, because if you just focus on everyone judging you, remember, focus equals the feeling. You're going to feel nervous and worried. And then what's that going to mean about you? You're not good enough to do it. So why haven't you started? And probably one of the most amazing questions, and maybe we'll go over this next week or leave a comment on this if you guys can, everyone watching the replay, is what made you want to start now? And this is the money answer. What made you want to start now? So I want you to answer these questions. Go back through the beginning of this with the limiting beliefs as well. Write down about 6 or 7 things. The more you fill out that limiting belief, the better it'll be, trust me. And don't hold back. Don't be worried. Don't think like, oh, I don't know, it's not good enough. Put it out there. Write the limiting beliefs down exactly. The limiting belief that you have, write it down, write it out, and really think about it. As you're writing the limiting belief, what usually happens is, as you're writing the limiting belief down, you're gonna say like, I'm worried about what people think. And then because you've said that, you're already in that part of your subconscious mind, and your brain will come up with something else as well that it's been stopping you as well. So you might say, I'm worried about what other people will think about me. And then the real answer you'll realize is like, wait, I'm worried people won't like me. Now we're getting true limiting beliefs, because we can change these. And just go down there. If you get like 10 or 15, it's fine. The longer you've held out on yourself, the more are gonna pop up. Like some of the ones that I had was that I was worried it wouldn't work, that I wouldn't be successful, that if I failed, people wouldn't like me, that people would judge what I do, that my family wouldn't approve of me, that my family wouldn't love me. These are limiting beliefs that we have. This is us projecting perceived danger, which is not real danger. It's perceived. It means it's something that we've put in our own head. We look at a jump that's 5 feet and we're like, no, I think I might fall and break a leg if I do it. But that's you. That's your perceived danger. Someone who jumps that every day doesn't think twice about it, because they don't have that same danger sense as you do. And like I say in a lot of programs, and I've said in the past, it's all these things that limit us are always for 3 reasons. It's out of fear, scarcity, or I forget the third one. Fear, scarcity, or trauma, the third one. Fear, scarcity, and trauma. These are these rules that we put up for ourselves. These limiting beliefs are all from there. You're scared of something, of how people are gonna judge you, what they're gonna look at you. Scarce, like you're scared that there's too many people, there's not enough people to watch me because there's already people subscribed and following everyone else. Or trauma, means you tried it in the past and didn't work. That's the whole reason that these rules come up. Without that, you'd post it perfectly fine. There would be no worries at all. If you look at a little kid who's 5 or 6 years old, you give them a camera, they can't wait to be in front of it. They don't have any of those rules because they haven't been through any of that. But this is where we break the pattern, by doing the opposite. So answer those questions and see, is there any questions? Sherry, you have any questions? You're good. Too early. I appreciate you being up so early. I have a lot of other Americans here, no offense to you guys watching the replay, that were too tired to be up for it. And I couldn't change the time because it would be really, really, it would be difficult for everyone, even in Europe. So thank you for joining live. Hope you got something out of it. The replays will be up soon as I can upload them, hopefully tomorrow for the beginning part. And I'll see you on Wednesday. Hopefully you'll be at the live. Hopefully some other people will be in the live as well. Wednesday, same time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, same time and same link. If there's any problems, reach out to me, lukelifecharms@gmail.com, okay? Take care. I'll see you next time. All right.